It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Greetings everyone, my name is Wonke, my surname is Mapei. I'm coming from a township called Guguletu. I'm studying at UNISA doing political science. I'm also a peer educator here at Africa Unite.
Hello everybody, my name is Nikelo Mqobalala. I am a final year political science student at the University of the Western Cape.
Hi, my name is Avuzokache Songobo, I'm currently based in Cape Town. I am a science graduate.
Hi everyone, my name is Lele Tunokwavu. I am originally from the Eastern Cape. I'm currently studying at UWC doing my penultimate year in LLB Law.
Hi guys, I am Babalo Marantsele and I'm from Eastern Cape. I'm a BCom student at UWC.
Good morning, my name is Ntati Lesawana, originally from Lesotho, but home is Mossel Bay and I stay in Parklands. I currently work for an organization called Africa Unite and I'm the human rights manager.
There's a well-known journalist called Zetu. She writes for the queer community and she writes articles about queer people that are getting brutally killed or whatever the case may be. And she speaks about the concept of overkill, which basically means that any person that's killing, aggressively being violent to a queer community member, in most cases, they're not just trying to be violent to that one individual. So you'll get, if they're trying to rape a lesbian, they will rape them, they will shoot them, they will shove a bottle up their vagina. Do you understand? Do you understand the overkill there?
It's more because of the hate towards the community?
Yeah.
Or it's just something they're doing?
I think it's not, there's no unity amongst us people. So women in general, when we were at the march this other day, women were fighting for their own issues. And the LGBTI was pushing their own agenda on the side. So people are actually in silos, as much as we're all fighting for the same thing, but we're all in silos. We want to achieve our own stuff.
I think when we're looking at gender-based violence, we must not try and categorize between a lesbian girl and a straight girl, because that's not the argument for me. Yeah. For me, I feel like women are marginalized. It doesn't matter the reasoning behind why it's done. For a lesbian could be whether it's the hate or people will say it's a spirit or whatever the case. But the reality is our society and our religion has still emphasized the fact that the men, they still have authority over anything that trickles down from them. Yeah. So be it you're gay, be it you're lesbian, be it you're a straight woman, the men still have power over all of us. We also have to look at the societal norms and what we taught from a very young age, because that plays a really crucial role. Think of when we were young as girls, you taught the do's and the don'ts. And most times the do's and the don'ts that women are taught, they're always to submit or to be under the men, sort of. We taught things like you have to take care of the household, you have to be cleaning, you have to do this, you can't speak over your husband has the last say, he's the head of the house and whatever. So we get sensitized or raised in believing that way, that there's nothing I can say that will be above the men. There's nothing that I can do that will be above the men. So even when a man comes forcefully to take, we think it's okay because they have the final say. So I think our communities and our societies and how they teach us also fuels the gender-based violence. Because you see, there's many cases where women, I think that's why the gender-based violence thing just keeps continuing. It doesn't matter how much people talk about it. It's because we need to see how does our parents, our grandparents, our society speak. Like a woman, you wearing something short like this, it's an issue. A woman is seen going to the shop at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. What is she looking for? It's an issue. So the communication levels in which we get in our communities, it fuels or it perpetuates the gender-based violence, because it makes men feeling like they can have and they can do whatever it is.
So another form of abuse that is mild and people often don't look into. Slay queens. Slay queens have older guys that actually give them like money, and then they tell them, don't get a piece job, don't get this, I'll provide, I'll buy you that weave, I'll buy you that bag, I'll buy you that shawl, I'll buy you everything. And you literally don't have to cover anything for yourself, and because I'm taking care of you. But what do you want as an individual in that situation? You want to get a job, you want to be independent, you want to have your own back, but you can't do that because the old man is like, I'll provide. Exactly.
Yeah. I think it just goes back to what she was talking about on culture and religion, because from a young age we're taught that the woman stays at home and the man goes out to provide and all that kind of stuff. And I think they are the hugest role players in all this thing, because I think men, especially religion, it's something that we always overlooking. A lot of religion marginalize women in a way that is just so disgusting. Culture as well does the same. So where do we go from here? Because sometimes you find that a person is so educated, but still, because from a young age, this is what I was taught through culture and religion. Even though I go through school and go through university, I still have those at the back of my mind. Exactly.
You know, like you just triggered something when you spoke about religion. I will not mention the pastor's name nor the church, but just last week, you see, with these events of gender-based violence, there was a pastor in church who said, with everything that's happening in terms of gender-based violence, can we please pray for the men? And in him saying, let's pray for the men, and then he further then said, God, can you bless these men because they were this and this and this, basically saying that they are the head of society and what so forth. And for me, that was an issue to say, women are dying because of these very men that you are praying for. But not once in that prayer did he touch on the women. The only thing that he was highlighting was to bless the men. So for me, it's disgusting because, like she's saying, our religion, our societies, and you know what that does to a woman? You then feel like your value is only when you give off yourself. That is why when men take from us, we are silenced because we feel that is the very nature of who we are supposed to be in this life.
Like that starts at a very primary level where if you're a child and you're in a household and you mess up, your mother says, I'll tell your dad. Do you understand? Like the father is seen as the head of the household and head of punishment. Do you understand? And because you grow up having that in your head, that the father is the person that punishes, the head of discipline in the house, if you enter into a marriage, you understand you partner as someone within authority already, inherently. And that's something I think is very problematic.
I think for me, it's a patriarchal role that is played by society. In a sense, I want to say, during back in the days when we were not born, during our forefathers, there was what we call matriarchal. You would find, if you read the Pan-Africanist history in detail, you will find there were women who were chiefs and who were ndunas. I don't want to say when Christianity came to our force as African people, it changed the way we looked at women. Because at that particular moment, it said a man needs to be the head of the house. Then it changed the whole aspect. Even in our African cultures, it changed to say a woman can never be a chief. A woman can head a clan of Amapacha and be a chief. A woman needs to follow and listen to what the man says. Even in parenting, it's a problem. Because you would find when you are married, you represent your clan. You are not longer representing you. Because when I want to pour out cows for lobola, 20 cows, those cows must not be brought back to my house. What must happen is a woman is told you must circumvent, even if it's hard, even if your man is abusing you. But what you must do, you must endure the pain. It starts there. Because you will go to your mother or your father and report, I have these problems with Wonke. Or Wonke is abusive. They will tell you, you must go back and talk to Wonke.
They even say, like, even your father, like, was like that. He was treating me like this, but I was patient. That they can say, like, you must also exactly.
At the end of the day, men, they feel like they have rights over us because of what's happening. Culture, the culture, what we're being taught. And it's very hard as well as a woman when a man violates you in that way. You don't even know whether it's right or it's wrong. Because
I think it literally has a lot to do with the amount of education we have access to. So I agree with you when you speak about stereotypes and how those groom like what we accept and how people behave.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think we're not aware of the mildness of abuse that comes to play within society that we often turn a blind eye to.
Yeah.
So for instance, before we even get to abusing someone based on gender, based on the fact that you think they're somehow inferior to you,
Yeah.
based on their biological orientation. Let's look at you abusing someone in general, besides that. So when you're looking at that, you find that in most instances, people do not understand that invading someone's space is a form of abuse. Do you understand? So you go to a club with your friends or whoever, and then some guy tries to chat you up or flirt with you, and they come to your space, and you tell them to I don't want to speak to you. Can you just move away or whatever? And they don't do that. And at that point, they don't understand themselves as abusers, and they actually are abusers in that space because they've invaded you in your space and made you feel unsafe in your own space. I think that's where we lose it, where we start to see issues of abuse that are coming at a very mild level, just mild, and we turn a blind eye to them.
It's so funny that we have also been programmed in a way that even small things like marriage, for instance, we were talking about the fact that men get so intimidated by educated women and independent women. So some women will try and tone themselves down just so they get married. That's something we taught from a young age, that always try and, don't be very smart, don't do this, don't do that, so that you get married. It's like our families groom us for marriage, they groom us for giving birth to children, they groom us for being household people.
No, but I think to be very blatant, I think our household, our culture, religion, all of those things, they groom us as women for weak men. If you really think of it, you're getting groomed for weak men. You told you need to miniaturize yourself for a guy. You need to put yourself down. You need to make sure that you are a Yebo Baba situation for him. You need to create that situation. You need to create that sort of power for him. He needs to feel that power. There needs to be that level of submission coming through. And in that way, you're raised well. In that way, you're a great African child, and you're well-mannered even. Do you understand? So a lot of things come from you downplaying yourself and bringing yourself to a very low level. Then you applaud it. Then you're seen as legitimate.
I think for me, it's an issue of religion. I want to
religion and culture.
I want to emphasize on the issue of religion. I have a reason on emphasizing. You would find in church, you will find there's a pastor. The people who are making tea and other things for the pastor, it's mamum fundis. And in other cases, it's women. In church, you are told, even women, when they pray, you are told the women pray, can't preach. They say a protocol of a church. You can't preach after a man has preached. The problem starts there.
Can I go off a tangent a bit?
Yes.
As much as we are busy talking about all women and men, we are all very heteronormative right now in the space. Because what is gender? Gender is how you identify yourself. So we're talking about lesbians who are being attacked also, because now we're just talking about a heterosexual woman. So what about those? Because we're not talking about those. Those things are happening, and those things don't ever catch the media. That's the thing. Uyinene was a heterosexual girl, that's why it caught media. But so many women who are homosexual or transgender, who are abused every day, and who are killed at the hands of the police because they are correcting them.
For me, gender-based violence comes from different forms, and to me it is influenced by emotional abuse, first and foremost to start with, because some like to look at gender-based violence by looking at only physical abuse, but where it starts is emotional abuse. Because if I can make a typical example, you would find a man who dates a woman, or would find a woman who dates a man who is less privileged, or is coming from the poor of the poorest families. So by then, he or she will make that person to feel like he or she is coming from the poor of the poorest communities. So he or she is bound, whatever he or she does, he must do what he wants them to do. They are not confined to their independence views. They are not confined to their independence roles, whatever they must do.
My dream is for a global acceptance to who a person is.
My dream is to be a role model and influencer to the youth of South Africa.
My dream is basically to see humanity being bettered, being advanced, and just being empowered.
My dream is that my kids continue the work I currently do right now.
My dream for South Africa is where we're able to deal with the real things in a real way.
My dream for Africa, I dream for a prosperous and united Africa.